honestly, I'm saying this from my own experience.
Right.
I feel like a guy can easily get lost when they have like many things thrown at them.
Okay. I can see where that
I
comes
don't know.
from.
I think my mom is like a superwoman, and I see
Isn't
her like
everyone's
doing.
mother?
Yeah, that's true. But like my point is, you need both of them, and if you don't have both in your company,
Right.
then you are losing, because you are losing on perspective, on point of view, on ideas,
And experiences as well.
and experiences as well.
Hello and welcome to the AOU podcast, Entrepreneur Leadership in Africa. Today my guest, I think she needs to introduce herself. You don't hear of her, but you see the things that she's done. She has a great impact in women in STEM, tech enthusiasts, policy makers, all that good stuff. So I'll just allow her to introduce herself. Welcome.
Thank you, Savannah, for having me today. My name is Lina. I'm from Morocco, and well, I just finished my honors, so I am technically a graduate.
Yes.
I majored in computer science, so yeah, I'm very much of a techie.
Right.
So yeah.
Tell us about your journey as being an entrepreneur leader.
Well, to be honest, my experience as a woman in technology has been not pretty unique from my own eyes and
Right.
perspectives,
Okay.
and from my interactions with others. So I've always loved mathematics, and I've pretty much used the laptop my entire life. I'm grateful for that. But so I never really felt like there has to be something done
Right.
in that
Okay.
regards. So even in high school, I was in science, never felt stupid, never felt like people considered me stupid or that I couldn't do things.
Right.
So it was very interesting to navigate from that innocent life, I guess,
Yeah.
and then towards university, and then starting to see things.
Right.
I don't have to maybe experience them directly, but you could see them, and then you hear about the statistics, and they're kind of scary.
Right.
Yeah.
All right then. Well, tell us a bit about the Switch conference that was held just a few months ago this year. That was 7th to 8th of June 2019 in Mauritius. I'm guessing the vision was to empower women in STEM.
Yep.
So science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, I believe. So yeah, tell us a bit about that, and then we can get into the topic of the day.
Yes. So Switch Conference was a 2 days event that aimed to do two things. So the first thing was just to celebrate women in technology.
Right.
Like we just wanted to celebrate,
Empower them. make them
exactly,
feel loved
like
and recognized and seen. Right.
and just be grateful to the great things that they've done.
Yeah.
And then the second one, which is very crucial to this topic, is to raise awareness regarding the involvement of women in technology,
Right.
and in the developing community in Mauritius. So there was like a lot of focus on the Mauritian context, because we've seen that the developing community in Mauritius is very much unisex.
Okay, all right. So the topic of the day is the value of leadership to accelerate the inclusion of women in tech. So before we even start about that, what is leadership to you? What do you think leadership is in your eyes?
The $1 million question. This is the question that I've been trying to grasp the past 4 years
Yeah.
here in African Leadership University.
Right.
And I don't have an answer quite yet, but I have an idea. So in my own definition, it's the ability to make impact,
Right.
hopefully for the good, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, there were great leaders that
Really?
didn't. I mean, look at Hitler. Like, yeah, he was bad, but he had such great impact in terms of like, if you could measure the impact.
Right.
it might not have done good to the word, but I think that it could still be considered as leadership.
All right.
The ability to drive people to do one thing,
Yeah.
and many people. That's like
Okay,
one
I
extreme.
see what perspective you're looking at it from. All right.
But that's
cool.
on like one extreme.
Yeah.
And I don't see leadership as being just like for great and like grand skills.
Yeah.
It could also be for small things day to day. So it could be an impact. I define impact as anything that's like just being deliberate about an impact.
Okay.
Either
so doing
on your
things
life,
with intention
yes,
and ensuring that you act on what you say. All
exactly. Either on your life or other people or many other people.
All right. So what do you think the current phase of women in tech is looking like, considering that definition of leadership that you have? And why do you think we should care about it?
Let me start with the second part.
All right.
The reason why I think we should care about it is I believe that women and men think differently.
Okay.
We both have our skills and like strengths. So we've all heard about that thing where men can't multitask.
Right.
While I mean we don't know how true that is, but we both have our own strengths and weaknesses, and we
Right.
complement each other.
But fun fact, sorry to interrupt you there. Nobody can, it's scientifically proven that nobody can multitask.
True, but I don't know. I mean, okay, I'm saying this from my own experience.
Right.
I feel like a guy can easily get lost when they have like many things thrown at them.
Okay. I can see where that
I
comes
don't know.
from.
I think my mom is like a superwoman, and I see
Isn't
her like
everyone's
doing.
mother?
Yeah, that's true. But like my point is, you need both of them, and if you don't have both in your company,
Right.
then you are losing, because you are losing on perspective, on point of view, on ideas,
And experiences as well.
and experiences as well.
All right. So what do you think the current phase of it is?
It's hard for me to say. I've been on the island for most of the past 4 years, so it's hard to say on like the global scale.
Right.
But from like the events, the news, I get newsletters about this all the time.
Right.
And my conversations with my friends and my interactions during the Switch conference with the youth or with women techies as well, it looks like we are in the phase where we're still building the awareness,
Right.
and we're raising it, and we're getting people, even like guys, getting them to understand what we mean,
Okay.
and making it like an issue for others, like see it as an issue. Because even me, as I said before, I didn't see it as an issue because
Right.
I just couldn't see it.
I feel like you couldn't see it because I feel like a lot of North African countries, from what I've experienced from you guys, is that a lot of women are empowered to be part of STEM. It's rare for me to see maybe a Tunisian or a Moroccan not talk about them wanting to be a part of STEM, you know?
Yeah.
So I think you guys come from a very empowered space. If it's not, it's empowering in perspective of being a part of STEM or being a woman in tech. You're expected to do the hard things. you know?
Yeah, I think it's generally in our countries.
Right.
Science is a big thing, and engineering is like, a great career.
Right.
So naturally, all of our parents are
Want you
encouraging
to
us.
be
Yes.
the
So if not a
engineers.
doctor, an engineer.
Yeah.
And so this is for like both genders. But I think what happens is that, especially up until high school,
Right.
usually you will find, I don't know about other countries, but from what I've seen in Morocco, it's mostly the girls that are very hardworking, and the
Right.
guys are a bit more laid back. So like girls would be like, their dad's favorites in terms of like hard work.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. So that could help into just making us work harder, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how to put this. I'll get back to it. We'll round up to
Okay,
it.
okay.
So you talked about being a part of the Switch conference. Were you like were you heavily involved as part of the Switch conference?
Yes. So Alpha, the founder and the one who came up with this idea, approached me in the beginning,
Right.
and I was interested, but as I said, like it wasn't like
A big thing.
yes,
Yeah.
but I was interested definitely,
Right.
but not that much. So when I was like, yeah, sure, I'm interested. Like I can help out, and I would love to.
Right.
And then suddenly she puts me in the sponsoring team.
Ooh, that must have been intense.
It was, and it was definitely not my expertise, but
Right.
it was fun. It was a great experience. So it was both of us and Alpha who were dealing basically with like raising funds
Right. To
and
ensure
getting
that.
sponsors to cover the event.
That's really interesting. So what is your impact there? Like, evidently you've been put in a position of leadership as a woman, doing a conference by the woman for the woman. What do you think your impact was being a part of that?
Well, first, I think we impressed the community a lot.
Right.
Because this event was organized by students only, and it was, of course, majority girls, like college students,
Yeah.
and I think we've done a good job.
Kudos to you guys. I saw the pictures, the conference videos and everything. It was pretty interesting.
In terms of impact, I would say that we've raised awareness.
Right.
Because when I'm interacting with Mauritians, they still remember.
Yeah.
When you go to other conferences around the island, they're like, oh yeah, I've seen you on the Switch conference.
Oh.
So like it's still there in their minds.
Right.
We definitely got it was mostly the middle-aged working class
Woman.
interested women and men as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was, we had an all right turnout. Yeah. So we got them to know about the issue and even agree with it to some extent.
So starting conversations
Exactly.
and making sure that they carry on. The point is to be remembered, ladies and gentlemen. The point is to be remembered.
So it was just like it was like baby steps towards solving the actual issue, because it would take some time to make changes.
Okay.
But just going around the island and pitching to companies and, getting them to think about the issue was a big bonus.
Right.
And I think what could be done at the moment would be to try to involve the youth a bit more.
Okay.
Because if you go around to competitions, you can still see the huge difference between the numbers, between the number of participants that are male versus female.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how would you what do you think needs to be done to ensure that we close that gap between leadership in men versus women?
Well, there are many things that could be done. I don't think that it should be done by one entity or one person or one group.
Definitely, yeah.
It should be done by everyone. So if you are a parent, encourage your kids, both of them, to push themselves and learn and get to understand and be curious about technology.
Right.
If you are a working woman, then don't be afraid to raise your point when you are talking with your boss or like in a meeting. Just share, be confident in yourself. If you are a student, right, a guy or a girl, doesn't matter, it's for both, and you see that you have a she who is struggling or like doesn't have confidence in herself, push her.
Be the person to empower her, to ensure her voice is heard. That is so beautiful.
Exactly.
Bring it back to ensuring that people are empowered within certain spaces. What challenges have you experienced yourself, like personal experiences? Have you changed? I can't even speak. Let's run it back. So what challenges have you experienced as a woman in maybe a working environment or a schooling environment rather, that has maybe challenged your view on leadership?
I think I remember something that one of our guests and speakers said during the conference.
Right.
It was that technology, like when we say woman in tech, we don't mean that you have to be that super technical person.
Right.
And that was like an aha moment for me, because
Because
that's
you
what
always put yourself in that box of, I need to know
Exactly.
all the technical things about being a woman in tech. Okay.
Especially since I mentioned that I'm a techie, so it just made sense.
Yeah.
But when she said it, it just made more sense to me, and I opened my eyes as to like, even myself, I was kind of like neglecting
Yeah.
a bunch of people just by virtue of what I define as women in tech. So she was like, just be like a business person, but in a tech environment, or like about a tech into like a. She was a blockchain enthusiast, basically.
Oh, okay.
So she understands how it works, but is not necessarily the best technical person. So I think that really helped in understanding like the environment, and yeah, just like understanding what we mean by tech and trying as much as we can to be inclusive of everyone.
Right.
So that means design, business, and every other thing that technology needs that is not technology in itself.
So being able to open yourself up into spaces that are not necessarily or primarily tech, and having the opportunities to learn and unlearn things within those spaces is what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
From what I'm understanding.
exactly.
All right. So, second to last question, maybe. What would your moonshot request to the world be to ensure that leadership landscapes or sort of like accelerates women in leadership or women in certain spaces?
I would say open your eyes.
Right.
Try for, if you see yourself a bit reluctant to like agree,
Right.
just try regardless to put yourself in your coworker's shoes, for example.
Empathy.
Empathy, exactly.
Yeah.
And just try to listen, ask questions, be curious about it, understand why there is an issue, because this is like different for every one of us.
Yeah.
And my experience is not the same.
As the next person, definitely. Yes.
Exactly. So be curious enough and just care to ask. You don't have to agree from the get go. That's not the expectation. But talk about it and understand what the situation is. And also, if you are in a position where you're the boss basically, then challenge your coworkers equally. I mean, your workers, like people who work for you,
Right.
because sometimes they might look like they don't have the confidence in themselves to do things,
But maybe they need just that extra push.
exactly,
Yeah.
they will still do great things. So have a bit of trust and try to push them.
All right, that's absolutely beautiful. This has been the AOU podcast, Entrepreneur Leadership in Africa. My guest today was Lina. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
The topic was the value of leadership to accelerate the inclusion of women in tech, and we are looking more into having more empathetic spaces, as you mentioned, challenging your coworkers equally, and definitely looking forward to seeing more women in tech or more women in general just being in places of leadership. Thanks for having us. We'll see you in the next podcast. See you next week.